Hey, you've reached Not Even Lying, and we're off to see The Wizard of Oz, so join us after the witches laugh. Not
Even
lying.
Close enough.
Alright, so this week we're talking about Wizard of Oz. Now, one thing that's interesting is you're really into Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah, I like the series quite a bit. I mean, I think I was first introduced to it by the really old movie. I don't even remember when it came out, like in the 20s or something.
I think it was in like the late 30s probably.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that movie. And I only saw that movie once, and I guess it was just all the, there was a lot of, like, everybody knew that movie, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody just knows that's what The Wizard of Oz was. And that's what it was to me for the longest time. And it wasn't until, like, fast forward to pretty much my adult life that I decided to actually read the books, because I started, like, hearing about just how different they were than that actual one. And I think it's like a very minute thing as opposed to a lot of the other things. But one of the main things a lot of people hate is the witches. The one that dies in the beginning of the book. Her shoes in that movie were red. And she's supposed to have silver shoes. And everyone's just like, why on earth would they change that?
You know what's funny is because you got me to read the beginning of the books, and the entire time when the shoes were silver, I guess, in my mind I was like, this is so stupid. She's wearing glass slippers. Like, I was thinking Cinderella, and because she went like because the little girl was like, oh, well, my shoes are just like, I can't walk in these. But since she got the other shoes from the witch, she was like, these are perfect and everything. I'm like, they're glass. You're gonna like, how are those better?
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of, because I don't know, when I think of witches, I think of really gross, nasty, disgusting people. And I don't know, I feel, one, they were on a corpse, and then two, this witch was probably very unhygienic, seeing what they typically look like and stuff. And I'm like, she just took off her shoes. I'm like, what if she had like athlete's foot or something? I don't know. And she's just like, let me travel this fantasy land in these, like...
I was gonna say how convenient it was that they were the same size, but
there's
but
more
they're
convenience
magic.
to the slippers, yeah.
But they're magic, so I guess they kind of conform. I've seen that in some, I forget what else. Probably Once Upon a Time they probably do that.
Oh, do they? I know there's some things in Harry Potter like that. And also Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
think
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of.
that's what I'm thinking with the jacket. I actually have that jacket.
Or like the shoes.
Oh yeah, oh man, I wish they had some auctions like for those shoes, like actual ones and stuff. Man, they were crazy expensive.
Yeah, I remember you guys looking at them.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, who would pay that much money for shoes like that?
Hey, you don't know, man. Anyways, back on topic. Yeah, so there's just a lot of like, I guess that movie really made that series seem very like, oh, la-di-da, and like, you know, they like linked arms, and you know, they just like danced down the yellow brick road to go see the wizard. I don't know, it just seemed too happy themed, I guess, you know, because I guess it is you know, a bit more upbeat. There's like some bright elements to it, especially like in like the Munchkin world or the Munchkin county and stuff, you know, because it's all divided into different areas. And I could see that, but I feel like that movie just took it too far, because like, say in the movie they were like midgets and they were all like, you know, really like uppity and stuff, where I feel like when you're reading the book, they're just like any other like farmer country, you know, like they're very solemn and stuff, you know, they're not.
Yeah, in the comic when I was looking at them, I was like, wait, are they shorter? Like, because they didn't seem like it.
They're slightly shorter. I mean, everybody in the comic, everyone's just so different sized, you know, like say the...
Wait, so then there was so there was books and then the movie, and now there's a comic?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the book series, I want to say there's even some still being published. I don't know exactly, but there was initially just 6 books that the author L Frank Baum had written, and he wanted to stop after that. And he ended it in a really cool way that essentially what it was is that Ozma, the ruler of Oz, was telling the story of Dorothy to L Frank Baum, and that's how he was able to write the stories. But at the end of the series, he makes it so they cut off the world of Oz from the rest of the world and universe and stuff. And Ozma sends a letter to L Frank Baum and saying like, I won't be able to tell you any more stories. This is the end of it and stuff like that. And that's how he wanted the series to end because he didn't want to write it anymore. But they decided, like they're like, oh, it makes a lot of money. So then they're like, nagging him to put out more and more books. And he did continue a few, but those were his like, I'm only doing this because I'm forced to, and he didn't really have the passion for it as much anymore. And then it ended up getting bought out, and then all these other authors just started writing random books, And there's only a few that the Baum Foundation, because they have the whole thing that runs everything for him and stuff, since he's dead. But yeah, this was in the 1800s, 1900s early,
Which is crazy to think like the Wizard of Oz, that story happened that long ago.
That's what I always think about with Lord of the Rings. Just because whenever I read that, I'm like, this came out so long ago. And I know it probably sounds stupid, but I just think it's crazy to think that people had these imaginations back then,
How long ago did that come out?
I don't know. I want to say it was around the same time, like sometime in like the early 1900s or something. Let me see.
I thought that came out in like the 80s.
No.
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
What? The 80s?
I don't know. I never read the books.
Oh, sorry. 1937. So yeah, it's really early years. So no, that came out way after The Wizard of Oz then. Either way, it's still crazy to think about. But I think that's what I like about it, because I feel like nowadays there's just so many things that they're like, say, for example, that witches and wizards and stuff, there's those tropes now that people just follow, like, this is how it's going to be, whereas these were things that were setting up what would eventually become those tropes. These are, like, the original ideas, I guess, And I feel like that's something that I feel like, I don't know, it makes it a bit more classic to me, and it draws me more to it because it just seems more an innocent idea as opposed to, oh, I kind of want to make something like this, But yeah, so the comic book that you were reading is, it only covers those same books. They only wanted to, it was Eric Schnauer and Scotty Young who did it. They only wanted to cover the same books as Baum intended. And they ended up ending it in a similar fashion. Which, to me, it kind of sucks because I know there's some of the other Wizard of Oz books that I did like. Like, there's the Patchwork Girl of Oz. I really like that character and her story. But it's just, that wasn't one of the main ones. So I'm like, oh, that sucks. They're not going to continue it.
Is that like a comic or?
No, it's a book, like one of the books. It was the first book that Baum wrote after he ended the series. So, it's like it's his, like, I liked it still, but it's not one of, like, the big ones, I guess, But I really like that character. I thought she was really, really cool. But I just wished, because I really, really like the comic adaptation. Like, one, I just love Scotty Young and his art style. So that's what first drew me to it. And it wasn't till after, because I thought it was just, like, his own version of it, But it's literally like a copy and paste story almost. Like, a lot of the lines that the characters have, they're just taken from the original book, and it's just adapted to be more like a how comics are read,
Oh, really? Because I don't know, I had a problem with the way it was written.
Yeah.
I guess while I was reading it, like, it just seemed very disjointed at times. Like, Dorothy's supposed to be like a little girl in the comic, right? Mm-hmm. Well, she talks like a grown-ass woman,
Grown-ass woman.
So, I'm like, I thought she's supposed to be a kid.
Yeah, I think she's 12.
And even so, she looked like she came from a poor farmer family, right? Mm-hmm. And this is back in the day, so back then, they probably didn't even know how to read.
Yeah, she's very well educated. She is
How?
extremely well educated. I don't know how she is.
Okay.
I'm just saying she is, because as the more you read on, there's just and I think it's just it sucks, because I would say that's a really really big like a problem that goes out through both the books and the comics, since they're based on the same thing. But everyone is super super smart and educated.
Everybody talks the same. That's what I noticed. Like,
Yeah,
they don't have their own personality, I guess.
they're all that that rhymey fantasy, like they won't just like talk normally. You know, they'll
It reminds me of some of the ways that some people write on Wattpad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When they're trying to sound smart and stuff. It's kind of like, oh.
See, and that's one of the things, because you know, the Scarecrow, he's the one without a brain, but he is the smartest character in the entire series, you know?
Yeah,
and he has been from the get-go.
I haven't gotten there yet. I've only read like the first two. So the only thing that I've noticed mainly about the Scarecrow is he won't stop bringing up how he doesn't have a brain and how he's made out of straw and nothing can hurt him. So the whole time, like, we get it, you're made out of straw. Like,
so
shit.
So there's a lot of that hand-holding kind of thing. Like, whenever they do bring up something, they're like, oh, I'm like, this is what we're going to do, because I am made of straw. You know?
Yes. Oh my god, that bugged me so much. Like when they meet the Tin Man, pretty much, he's like telling his backstory, and that was another thing I thought was really funny, was she meets them all pretty much like the same way. Like, somehow she meets them, and then it's just like they instantly go into a flashback on how they got to where they are.
Yeah.
It's
Let me
just
tell
all
you
the
my
same
story
setup.
of woe.
And in his, I guess, there was even a line. Let me see. I wrote it down. So he says, I went to the tinsmith and had him make me a new leg out of tin. I'm like, oh no, really? Really?
What is the tinsmith going to do?
Yeah. Like, they could have easily went, like, I went to the blacksmith,
yeah,
and he made me a leg out of tin.
I wonder why they chose tin, because, or I mean, I kind of know, because like, I mean, I don't know, to me I feel like there's way better metals you could be made out of, you know, but I know the look and the original Tin Man. The author, he used to work at this like auto shop, and he made like this little like sculpture out of tin pieces of automobiles and stuff, and that's who we based him off of. So I get that, I guess, but I'm just like, I don't know, if you really want to make this guy seem like invulnerable and like hard as metal, like, use a good strong sturdy metal. You know, I feel like tin is just like, why would you make anything out of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I just kept thinking of like a soda can.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think of too. I'm like, they even have they're called tin snips to cut through it like scissors. I'm like, that stuff's not that that strong. But yeah, so same with him. I know he does the same thing. He'll always just go on about like, oh, it just sucks not having a heart. Wish I had a heart.
I'm just assuming that pretty much they have everything that they're looking for. Because that was the very first thing I noticed about the Tin Man, was he, of course, kept talking about how he doesn't have a heart, yet he like accidentally stepped on a bug and starts crying, but then talks about how he doesn't have a heart and he needs a heart. I'm like, well, if you have feelings, then what do you need a heart for? You're already feeling something.
See, and that's one of the things that I've always like asked myself, like, because of like the things that they bring up, and I guess it's just more since the author is speaking for them, like, he's bringing up all these like super deep philosophical ideas sometimes, but then when you think about the characters, they're kind of all idiots, you know, that they cannot see those things that the Scarecrow cannot see, that he obviously does have a brain. Every thought, he's the one who always has a plan and figures things out, but he's like, you know, like, and they'll even compliment him, like the Tin Man will be like, wow, that was a great idea, and he's like, yeah, but I still wish I had a brain, because then I could have came up with a better idea.
Is this story like just for kids mainly? Like, that's the main focus, and that's why they're holding our hands?
The books were written for kids.
That's what I figured, the way that it was written like that. I guess what threw me off was how they made everybody use big words, yet the way that they over-explained like that made me like, well, the way they're doing this tells me they're talking to a kid, but they're also using big words that a kid wouldn't understand, so I don't know. So then I was like, well, was this written by a kid? I don't know.
No, it was written for kids, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like he was writing children's books, but again, probably had these big ideas he wanted to get out there and was trying to cram them all into these characters that, you know, I feel like I do see that disconnect as well, you know, but I still think it's, you know, pretty enjoyable, you know, or at least for me. I just like fantasy settings and characters and stuff like that. You know, I feel like this one just had a really, really big, there's a whole lot that you can go into with it, you know. There's a lot of, he built this world intricately, and that's what I think is really cool, and pretty much just anything can exist in it, you know, and there's a lot of cool ideas that he does play with, you know, that I feel like are pretty unique that you don't see in other fantasy books or stories.
There was like 2 or 3 more things I wanted to bring up about like when the storm happens and it takes her to Oz. So for one of them, what happened to the aunt? Because like she told Dorothy to get in the cellar and opened up the cellar door while Dorothy was getting Toto, and then never showed her again. Like, what happened to her? Did she like leave the room? Did she go down in the cellar? Like, did she die?
Well, I mean, I guess you just got to keep reading the books.
I guess. And then when the house did get taken into the storm, and the cellar door was open and Toto goes flying out of it, yet he's hanging off the edge as if he has hands. I was like, how is he doing that? I was like, wait a minute, is he a cat in this? And I had to go back, and I was like, no, he's clearly a dog, so...
No, he's a dog. Funny you should say, because, like, or at least him grabbing on, because I feel like one of the things, and you'll notice it in the other books, is because she usually has like a different animal companion when she goes to Oz. Like, she does have a cat, she has a chicken, and there's a horse as well. And each time, like, and it's again probably that hand-holding thing, but he, the author, he makes a point of mentioning that any animal that goes into the world of Oz is now able to speak and can communicate with everybody, except for Toto. Toto cannot. Because supposedly Toto is the only smart person, and he's just fooling everybody into thinking he is still just a dog. And nobody ever questions why he never speaks, even though they know when an animal goes to the world of Oz, they'll gain the ability to speak, you know? But Toto will still just run around and bark at people and try and bite them and stuff, you know, and just stay playing a dog.
When do they explain that?
About Toto?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's just something that was like brought up after like everybody like read books and had like theories and stuff like that. And that's why I said
so
supposedly.
It's not a concrete thing.
Yeah, that's why I said supposedly.
Okay. I was like,
because it is something that's not explained. Like, why wouldn't Toto be able to speak, and every other animal that does go there can?
I don't know. I haven't read that far ahead to be able to come up with a theory. But, anyways. I just thought it was really weird how...
Hey man,
like,
it's a cartoon.
Hey, even if he could talk, that still doesn't explain how he was able to grab onto it as if he had like claw, like hands or something.
Saying that he's transcended. You know, that's what I was getting at. He's so far advanced he can grab on with his paws.
I suppose. But also one big thing while I was reading, and I just went, "What really?" was she went back to sleep as the house was in the tornado. Like, oh, well, maybe it'll be over. I'm just going to go to bed. Like, what? You're in a tornado. Why are you going to sleep?
Hey, man, don't... You can't.
She's
clear-minded. I get it. No, I get it. Yeah, that
was weird to me. I don't know.
What would you have done if you got sucked into a tornado and you were stuck in your house?
I'd be terrified. I don't know what I would do.
Really?
I'd probably be like, shit, what do I do? You know, like...
You wouldn't, like, kind of just crumble to the floor into a ball and just...
I feel like everything would be sliding around, though, and flying through the windows, that I'd pretty much just be trying to dodge everything as best as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
know.
I'd go to sleep.
I think it's weird because, yeah, like the bed even stayed that she was sleeping on.
Yeah.
And then she even goes back inside and changes and all her stuff's as it is inside. Maybe they had it all bolted down. Never know. Farmer people are weird.
Maybe. I mean, if tornadoes were just normal to them.
But as the book carries on, like how I said, like it picks up because I feel like it does get more interesting. It does start covering like a lot of darker themes and stuff, you know. And even though like I guess the hand holding is still carried out, you know, there's a lot of interesting things that they cover in the story. And I know like a lot of that like stuff was more. I guess it was supposed to be represented more accurately in this movie called The Road to Oz. That was I actually found out it was made by Disney. I didn't know it was a Disney movie, but I still haven't seen it. I've been wanting to see it, and like things that I've seen from it, it's weird because there is a book called The Road to Oz, but this movie is based off of The Marvelous Land of Oz, which is my favorite book, and Ozma of Oz, which is the fourth book. It has nothing to do with the one actually called The Road to Oz, and they kind of just mixed up a bunch of the stories to try and make this one story, you know? And that's why when I was looking into the movie, because I had no idea it existed, I was like, wait, I'm like, Jack Pumpkinhead is in this, but so is TikTok, and I'm like, they didn't cross paths until they both actually became residents of Oz, you know, in Emerald City. So I'm like, how are they both in this movie doing stuff that they weren't there for, you know? Like, I don't know. It was just really confusing me. And then there's this, I forgot what it is. I think it's called a gup, but it's this like weird, it's like this creature with like it's made of two sofas. It has like leaves for wings and this like, you know, when they cut off an animal's head and mount it on the wall? They have that for the head and a broomstick for the tail. And they use that to like fly around and stuff. And the thing is alive and can talk to them and stuff. And that was one of my like favorite creatures, I guess. But that was in the Marvelous Land of Oz, and it was the kid Tip who was doing that. But
so is there more than one main character?
Yeah.
So it's not always Dorothy?
Well, the Marvelous Land of Oz, the main character was Tip. Dorothy, I don't think Dorothy even showed up in that one. But because that one's supposed to be like I thought it was a pretty interesting plot twist, and at the end, like you end up with the establishment for the rest of Dorothy's adventures, because after that she is still the central character, but like so is everyone else, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it does follow her, but so many of them just become such central characters that I feel like it's definitely there could be more than one. You know, and Tip was the only one who was like I guess the child that was going along with them. The only other child that went along with them.
So was he a kid that was already in Oz, or he was in the real world?
No, he's always lived in Oz.
Okay. Does Dorothy age at all?
Yeah, she does. So that's actually one thing I did like about the comic, is that in every book, he drew her differently. Like she had different hair, a different dress, she got taller, you know, she got older and things like that. So it does, you know, continue in that aspect, you know. Which, I mean, I think it's cool to see that, because I feel most people would just be like, whatever. But it's also one thing that did bug me, because I know he when he started the project, he felt like he had to draw a certain way. And I don't know, I really hated the way she looked in the first few pages. I feel like she had a giant alien head, and it just really bugged me. And then as the issues continued, he just got like looser and looser and looser with his style to what it ended up being for the rest of the series. But I just remember that first issue was really weird to look at. Like he just drew everything so weird in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't notice those things, because I know. What was it, just like yesterday when you were redoing a drawing that you did before, and you're like, oh, I changed the head and stuff, and I was like, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I was like, no, I did this, and this. I was like, how do you not see it?
The only thing I noticed was that the hood was bigger than the head.
Yeah, because they shrank down the head, and yeah, it did a lot on that. But yeah, that movie was supposed to be really, really scary. And I want to say, because I know we tried to watch it, but one thing that I didn't know about it, and I noticed it when you, I think, were like, nah, we're not watching this, was how it's like people in suits, you know? Is that what like the characters are people in suits?
No, wait, I missed the first part of that.
Oh, you want me to just start over?
Yeah, what did you say?
Okay. So the movie The Road to Oz, I know that we're going to try and watch it, and something that I didn't know about it, and I think this is what like kind of like deterred you from wanting to watch the movie, was that the characters like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and all of them were like people in really weird looking suits, you know? Because I didn't know any of these characters, because I thought all the characters in the other books never made it to film, which sucks because a lot of my favorite characters are only in the other books. So when I saw that there was a movie with these characters, I was like, oh, what? I want to see this. But then I saw the Scarecrow, and he had like this really creepy looking latex mask, and just like kind of like that creepy, like, you know, like Barney and Teletubbies look, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And I want to say, is that what, like...
No, I thought, because I remember you mentioning, like, which ones you wanted to watch, so I was trying to remember, and then I was Googling it, and I think I saw that one. I saw a couple of them, and I was like, no, it must be, maybe it's this one, and it was, like, an animated one. And
I've never seen any of the animated ones.
That's what I thought that you were saying, so when I went to look it up, when you told me again and I saw it, I realized it's not the animated ones. And when I looked at it, I was just like, ugh, that doesn't look like appealing to me. I don't know.
I know definitely when I saw that, like, because I looked through the pictures too on there. And when I saw the Scarecrow, I was like, that looks creepy.
I didn't even see the Scarecrow. I just saw, like, just it as a whole from the movie poster. And I was like, nah, hey, I don't think I could get through that.
It was in the 80s, man. I don't know. I saw some clips on YouTube, and it does actually look really cool. And I actually found out, it was completely random, but I wanted to see who played Dorothy in that movie, because I was like, Judy Garland, I think, was the one who played it in the 1930s version, whatever. I was like, she's obviously not a kid anymore. It's been 50 years. So I was like, I wonder who they were like, oh, this person looks. And I guess it was her first movie ever. And to me, probably one of her only other movies is Waterboy. She was Adam Sandler's love interest in The Waterboy.
I think I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. And I think the only other thing she was in was The Craft. She was the main girl in The Craft. And that's it.
I've seen her in some other things. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't even... Honestly, I thought she was like some random person they got for The Waterboy, and that was it. But no, I guess she played Dorothy in this other...
I think she's been in other Adam Sandler movies.
Has she? I don't know. She really wasn't all that memorable, unfortunately for me, but... Yeah, I thought that was funny, because it says, it's like they make a big deal. They're like, introducing whatever the hell her name is, you know? Like,
it says literally like that.
Yeah, we don't even know. But I again, one of the main reasons I wanted to watch, as you probably know, I like chickens, but a character I really like, it's this chicken. Her name is Bill. But when they get to Oz, Dorothy, when she starts talking to the chicken, she's like, Bill's a guy's name, you know? And she's like, but that's my name. My name is Bill, you know? Like, and she was just like, well, I'll call you, like, Billina, you know?
Well,
it sounds
it's just
more like a woman.
On Doctor Who. One of the companions is Bill.
Oh, really?
Only she died in every episode. It was really annoying.
Huh. Well, the chicken doesn't die. But I don't know. That chicken, it's such a sassy chicken. I love it. But she's one of my favorite characters. And I think one character you'd probably hate, and it's one of my favorite characters, it's the Wogglebug. And because he's supposed to be the most educated person, and he acts very pompous and stuff because of it, and everybody hates him because everything he tries to say, he tries to make it a pun. So it'll be like, something really horrible is going on, and he'll just like come out and like say some random pun, you know, and everybody's like, "Are you fucking kidding? Like, not right now," or something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It always gets me. But yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite ones too. But a lot of the other, because we looked into quite a few different things that were adaptations of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I know we saw the Tin Man just because I had seen that when it first came out on Sci-Fi. It was not as good as I remember it, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not a really big Wizard of Oz fan. Like, it is interesting, but I think I've seen the original movie like too many times that's all I see now when I see like the story. Because when I was reading the comic, that's all I was picturing and thinking of, and pretty much those first 2 issues were the movie in a way. And
see, and yeah. this is why I was really hoping you'd get like a little farther into it, just because I don't remember that first movie. I've only watched it the one time, so as many times as you've watched it, I guess I had like I wanted to compare the two to see, like, because I'm like, there's some crazy dark shit that goes on in that first one that I'm like, I don't think that was really covered in that movie.
Well, of course not. I mean, I think at the time that movie came out, they had major censorship in film. And the reason why it came out the way that it did was they actually were pretty much done with the movie. And then color movies came out. So they decided, oh, you know what? We should make this in color. So they redid the movie, and that's why...
I think they went a little too try-hard with the color.
Well, that's why it turned into, when they go to Oz, it's color. Because they decided, like, oh, it'd be interesting to make the regular world just bland and stuff. And I think that was a pretty cool choice, because it really...
contrasted the two.
Yeah, it made Oz more magical. Can you imagine if they did decide to just keep it in black and white?
That would be crazy, because the entire world of Oz relies on color. Like, everything is the Munchkins only wear blue. The people in Emerald City only wear green. You know, I know there's yellow and red, you know, depending on where you live. You're color coordinated, you know. So you definitely need the color for that. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. One thing that is really, really cool, because I know we were talking about like the other adaptations, because did you ever watch Emerald City at all?
Only when we saw the first episode.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't remember that, but
I just remember like a lot of the style, I guess, they did it in was pretty interesting. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't that great. And I don't know if it was just because it was a Wizard of Oz thing that to me I was like,
Yeah, I mean, like when you told me about the adaptations, like, to be honest, like none of them really interested me, you know? Because they were also just like the Tin Man. He's not one of my favorite characters, you know? I wasn't really dying to see a solo series on him, you know?
Well, it's not. It's just called that because it is like the whole group of them. But I don't know why they decided to call it the Tin Man. He's not like the main focal point. It's still Dorothy. Yeah. But on there, he's supposed to be a lot darker because he's an actual person, and he's not made out of like metal at all. He gets arrested and stuff, and then to pretty much torture him, they put him inside of a tin box, and that has like where he has to keep looking at this hologram of like pretty much his family dying and stuff. And that's when Dorothy and the Scarecrow pretty much find him.
That's interesting, I guess.
You don't remember that part?
No.
Yeah. No, for me, like...
Wait, the Tin Man was the Zooey Deschanel one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The concepts and stuff that they did in that mini-series was pretty good. I just... the acting was just not there for me. That's what was killing me, was the way that they were saying their lines. And the whole time I was just like, these actors are better than this? Yeah. Why are they doing it like that?
Maybe it was their starting.
No, it wasn't.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to defend them.
But I mean, it was 10 years ago, but still.
10 years? That's not that long, really.
10 years sounds like a long time to me.
I don't know, because if I think about that, isn't that the same year 500 Days of Summer came out?
I don't know.
2008. I want to say it was. And that was Zooey Deschanel, too.
Tin Man came out in 2007, so not the same.
Okay, well, around the same time. Well, I mean, I just don't like Zooey Deschanel.
I don't know. I like her, but
she's not a Rachel Weisz.
No, she is not. Oh, that brings up another movie. We watched the Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh, I completely forgot we watched that.
That was the first thing we watched.
That was weird.
Was it?
Yeah, I remember watching it.
I was surprised that I really liked the way what's her name?
Jackie.
Mila Kunis. Yeah. I really liked the way she did the witch. Mm-hmm. The only problem was all I heard was Mila Kunis. So.
Yeah, same here. And then even like when she had all the makeup and everything, like all I could see was Mila Kunis. I feel like her face showed through too much.
Really?
She didn't really look like a witch now or something, you know, which which I thought was cool that they went into that. I liked the witch's story more in that than I did the god-awful play Wicked, because I absolutely hate Wicked.
I mean, I hear a lot of people really like it.
I think it's just one of those, like, what if we flip the story around and made her good, you know? And I was just like, that's stupid, you know, that it was the good witch that was just making her look bad, you know? And she really isn't. And then I'm just, because I feel like
I don't know, that sounds interesting to me.
It's not. I mean...
Oh, you hungry over there?
No.
Anyways, I don't know, like, it sounds really interesting to me.
I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Maybe the execution wasn't great, or maybe because you're just very biased because you like the original story, that you're like, how dare you deface it like that?
No, because what you described about the Tin Man, I thought that sounded cool. I thought it was really, you know, dark. It was really different. It had nothing to do with the story, but I'm like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, when I read the comic, I was actually surprised that they were still a scarecrow, an actual Tin Man, and a lion. I thought that maybe they just did that in the old movie.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna go like the miniseries Tin Man and make them more real.
No, I mean they were supposed to be actual. Like, I think it's funny because the old movie, the lion was like a lion but like upright, and then in the comic he's just a lion. You know, he's not.
Well, I mean, they kind of had to do that because he's just a guy in the thing.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I don't know. That just always makes me laugh because of that, I always thought that he was supposed to be some type of anthropomorphic lion. Mm-hmm. I didn't ever think of him as just a lion. But then when I do look back at all the like really early drawings that the author would do for each of the stories, because they would have drawings, because that's how, you know, it's a children's book, it has pictures in it too. Mm-hmm. His drawings, the lion was just a lion, you know.
Yeah. So
I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he is just supposed to be a lion. But Oz the Great and Powerful, there was a lot of things I kind of liked about it, but I think, and I don't know why, because I love James Franco, but I felt like he was doing a bad job on purpose. Like, he just seemed way too...
I think he was trying to be too cheesy.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. Like, he was being over the top with it, and I was just like, why are you doing this? This isn't you, James.
When we were watching it, and Rachel Weisz came on, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot she was on here.
Yeah, I did
crazy. Too. I guess I never realized how many movies I've seen that she's in. Mm-hmm. That's weird.
Yeah, underappreciated.
I guess so, yeah. But the fact that she was like the evil witch too, I was like, I don't remember.
She was the one that transformed at the very, very end, right? Or was that Mila Kunis?
No, it was her, because she pretty much like provoked Mila Kunis into becoming one of the evil witches.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that, because like she was in love with him and stuff. Mm-hmm. I did like how at the end he did the whole like floating head with smoke thing, because that's one of the things that he does to try and fool. I think it was Dorothy that he does that to, because he changes every single time with the other characters and stuff. But I thought it was cool that they actually did that, and then how he also had his hot air balloon, and they go into like his circus past and stuff.
I
They
think
covered a lot of it.
I think they were trying. I think that movie was probably supposed to be more of a prequel to the old movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the old movie, like, yeah, it's based off of the books and they took their own, like, liberties and stuff. But because they do that at the end of that movie as well.
Yeah, I do remember that too. That like that's how, and they even find him behind the curtain and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and that's essentially what it was. Also in this, they find out that he's what they call a humbug. He's a liar essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He says he's something but isn't. And he just hides and he feels.
That's a strange word choice that you chose.
Well, that's
a
just
humbug.
That's what they specifically say in the book. And
makes sense now.
Yeah, and they make a point of bringing up often that he's a humbug thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what he was. Man, it's
that
just
really is like must be some old slang then.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Because they put that in
I know
Scrooge.
Yeah, because I know when I first read them and they're like, "You're a humbug," I was like, isn't that? I'm like, is that a Scrooge? Because that's the only connection I had to the word. So I had to look it up, and it would I was like, oh, it's a sham, pretty much, like somebody was a phony,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was, which I guess kind of works in Oz the Great and Powerful, because he essentially was, he tricked everybody there, but he still just happened to
save the day.
Yeah, even though he isn't at all.
He's a con man.
That's all he is.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Even at the end when he writes everything, when he gives the Scarecrow his brain, he's like, "I'm gonna stuff your head with nails because you're as sharp as nails." That's so messed up. And the Scarecrow's like, "Wow, I finally have a brain." I'm like, man, this guy has.
That's really dark.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put nails inside of your head. That's.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because since it continues on after that, like when you read the comics,
Mm-hmm.
The Scarecrow after that, he always just has needles sticking out all over his head and stuff. It just looks so funny.
Is he just there looking really happy?
Yeah,
just see the nails.
Yeah, all sticking out. And the same with the Tin Man. He gives him it's made out of sawdust, I think, his heart or something, and he puts it inside of there, but that's all it is,
Mm-hmm.
It's just sawdust. And then the Lion, he gives him a little badge saying, "You're brave." So.
Well, I guess that just goes into how I was saying earlier, they technically already have what they're looking for. Isn't that
that's a whole
in
theme.
the old movie too? I think they said that.
That's what it was supposed to be. That they're all supposed to have already had it, and the only reason he supposedly sent him on it is to prove that they had it. That it was inside you all along.
Mm-hmm.
But the how it's always brought up that oh, I'm not smart, but he obviously is, and the Tin Man, vice versa, and stuff. In the Marvelous Land of Oz, the pumpkin guy, Jack Pumpkinhead, when he first comes to life, they ask him, they're like, "Are you smart or not?" And he's like, "I haven't lived long enough to know yet if I am smart or not, so I can't answer that question." And I'm just like, that is some deep critical thinking he did to answer that for not being smart,
Yeah.
And that's I'm just like, I get it's I guess an innocent, dumb response, but when you really think about it, it's like, nah, how'd he come up with that, And that's, I guess, more of the author bleeding his thoughts into the characters as opposed to just, he's a pumpkin,
Yeah.
Well, there's just a lot of different adaptations, and I know a lot of them we didn't even look into. I guess there is the actual Broadway version of the play and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the more interesting things, and again, it just goes back to how much of a sham the wizard is the city, Emerald City.
Mm-hmm.
It's as soon as you enter the city, they're like, "Okay, just so you guys know, this city is made of emeralds, so it's super bright and you'll go blind if you look at it. So you got to wear these special goggles to protect your eyes." So everybody puts on these goggles, they go in and they're like, oh my god, it's so amazing here. And then at the end, when you find out he's a phony, they all take off their glasses and they see that they're just green tinted and everything's just normal colored. And it's just meant to, again, fool everybody into thinking that they live in an emerald city. And it just goes back to like, but everybody's so I don't know, just like a really dark theme to me that it's just like, you know, you pretty much lie to everybody into believing their life is great.
So it's kind of like that new game, We Happy Few.
Yeah, essentially.
They take their happy pills and like, to them the world is like rainbows and butterflies and stuff, but the reality is like not really.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's just like, it's all just a intricate lie. And I'm like, that's pretty messed up. I don't know. I had completely forgotten about We Happy Few.
I haven't. I really want to play it, but also I know it's going to be creepy. I don't know. I get too immersed.
I don't know. I enjoy those games. There were some pretty creepy ones. I mean, I think that's definitely a game we should check out sometime soon.
You know, I know I didn't have a lot to say about Wizard of Oz. Like, it's just not...
For you.
For me. But that's cool how you were able to get really into it and stuff, you know? For me, I guess I realized like I prefer more Alice in Wonderland, but not the Disney cartoon because I don't know, that one's just, I don't think I like the style of it.
Yeah, there was a lot that I ended up not liking. I mean, I dislike both the Disney versions of that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the live action one. Maybe that's something we could watch, but I think another episode we can do is probably on Alice in Wonderland.
I think so.
I only know like a couple of adaptations that I've seen, but I've heard about the books and everything. So.
Yeah. I think I mentioned the Looking Glass War books to you.
Yeah.
Those are super cool.
I think that's what one of the adaptations was about. I want to say it was about Through the Looking Glass, which is interesting because normally it's always just the first book.
Yeah. So. Which if you do like that, the second Disney one, the live action, it's literally almost all Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
Yeah, it's just some choices I wasn't too fond of. But no, we should definitely start on that.
Yeah, we could do that.
For next episode.
Is the next episode going to be Christmas, though?
Christmas or Thanksgiving?
One or the other, I guess. So I guess that's something we could all like look forward to.
Yeah,
it'll be a surprise. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, stay tuned, guys.
Yeah. Maybe we'll watch Thanksgilling too.
Oh, I can't wait.
No, we're not gonna do that. There's puppets. I can't do that.
Yeah.
The first one was scary enough.
All right, we'll catch you guys later.
Yeah. All right. Bye.